Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday, June 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for today. And you can see we had another wild day today. Um, Market traded way down here, and then again late in the afternoon, they rallied it back. Not quite as strong as they did the previous day, but that's still a pretty nice return, a rally back. So I just don't think this market's going to be able to sell off. Um, you got to be careful with this because you can get short and then all of a sudden it reverses and you're on the wrong side. So you just have to be real careful trading this market because they're going to come in and on most down days and buy it back. It's 2 days in a row. Friday was absolutely insane the way it reversed and traded all the way up and traded so high for the day. Today was similar, not quite the buyback we had, the rally we had from Friday, but it was a very similar pattern. So just be careful trading this stuff because it can flip on a dime and go straight up or flip and go straight down. We've seen it 2 days in a row now, but or 2 trading days in a row because one day was Friday and the other was today Monday. So 2 trading days in a row. I wouldn't say 2 days in a row. There's a difference there. Let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and take a look at it. Okay, we started out in this trading range and then suddenly prices sold off. We got a little more than 2 measured legs down here and then prices reversed and we traded back up. As you can see, we got all the way back into the original range and closed about the middle of that range. So that's quite a bit of a sell-off and pretty impressive rally. There was a leg up here and then the next leg up, and you can see we outdid that to the upside as well. So interesting day to say the least, but it is what it is. So let's zoom in here. We'll go through the trades and we'll wrap this day up. We had this couple of news items between 8:45 and 9, so you really kind of had to just kind of block this area out here, just to be sure that you didn't get caught up in something. But we had a nice early long here, nice second entry long, and there's also a somewhat of a triple test there too. So, but it's a second entry long off a key entry point at the EMA. Nice signal bar. I like going long there. It's a quick, easy scalp, and you probably get a runner there. And then of course it just runs up and it breaks. It actually just tests this original high, and then we get a break of the channel here. And it chops sideways for a few minutes and then rallies up. It's a shame we couldn't take that trade right there. It's a nice short, but I just think it's too close to the news. That bar was at 9 o'clock, and that's right when the news is coming out. That 9 o'clock news. Or actually, that's not right, is it? Well, that bar was at 8:43, and that's just a couple minutes before the 8:45 news comes out. I'm sorry. I think the 9 o'clock news is right over in here in the same area. Yeah, you can see right there that next high. So those would have been great shorts other than the news. You might have taken, this one was at 9:01. I mean, that's not crazy right there. It did create a sell-off. And that's a lower high. It's moved a good bit. It's right into the EMA, so I probably wouldn't take it anyway. It's very bearish and a reversal type bar, but I'd probably sit tight. You got the trend working down. You get a close outside. You really get a couple of legs up here, and then it turns down. This is like a little tight range. So this is a failed breakout here, basically. Nice signal bar. You're better off to wait on the lower high, which doesn't come. So, but maybe you take that trade. There's reasons to like that trade. It's a little aggressive though, so I marked it green. And then we're coming back here, and there's a higher low here, but it closes outside the main support resistance, and it's real congested there, so there's not rejection right there. So I'm a little hesitant to take that one as well. Plus, it's an inside bar. This is really your signal bar. I think it's bullish enough, but I just think it's too congested. And then it doesn't. Then when it doesn't break higher on that bar, then you really are better off not taking it. So when it fails out the bottom, runs up and fails out the top, and you do get a double top here, so you can treat that like a lower high, nice signal bar. It comes back now and gives you a triple test and another nice signal bar. I don't know if you can see that with all my, let me zoom in here a little more. So now you got a triple test with a very nice signal bar. I like that one. This turns out to be a really nice trade. Runs down, close outside, 2 legs up. Unfortunately, you don't get a good signal bar there to go short, because this one takes off again here too. And there is, you got a lower high here, but it's right into the lows, and this is still congested and part of those sideways stuff, so you can't take that. And unfortunately, you just don't get a good trade down here to get in it until it's almost over. You get a 2-legged correction here, so that's a second entry short in a downtrend. Nice signal bar. It's only 5 ticks, very low risk. I like that one. And it gives you 2 legs down after the break, and it reverses. Now you might go long there. You're trying to pick bottoms, and every day somebody sends me a chart and they lose trying to do this. So you need to be a skilled trader to pick bottoms. But if you know what you're doing, that's a possible entry right there. And there is a trend up here, but it doesn't really matter. There's not much to trade there. And you get a close outside and finally make a new high. He actually made a new high on each one of these moves, but he ends up just going sideways and it breaks out and fails. That one's tempting, but I think you need to wait on a lower high, which comes here, then it's congested, and then you get another high here that's still a lower high, but we just bounced at the midline and nothing's going any further than right there, and there's just not much room, so I don't think you can take it. Comes back, and this time you make a higher high and you don't get a very good signal bar, and we're bouncing down here, but we're not getting back to the highs, and there's no real setups down here. So you have this one that gives you a decent signal bar, but you'd push through right there, and because you hadn't been getting up there, you could get burned right here. Do you see what happens? Is there enough to scalp out there? I don't even know if there. I wouldn't take it regardless. I mean, there's just enough to take to scalp out there. There's exactly 6 ticks. So if you took it, it worked, but I don't like it. I think you're playing with fire, you need a higher low, and you just don't get one. And then you get you actually get a reversal here. It's a breakout pullback short. I somewhat like that trade. I didn't mark it. It's kind of aggressive. You might argue for it to be green because you got a new high second entry and it fails, and it is a breakout pullback that it looks like we broke out and tested it 1, 2, 3 times. So you might argue for that to at least be green, and it turns out to be a really good move. And then you get 2 legs back over here again, but I just don't like that signal bar. I think you have to skip that. Lower high here, but there's no room to scalp out. And finally you're working sideways and you get a break. Now you're probably going to get a retest here on the low. So I like this one. You get just enough to scalp out. It comes back, but it doesn't give you another entry on the way down. And you do make a new low here. Again, that's not rejection off these lows, so you don't want to try to go long there. Even though it takes off, you just don't want to do it. And of course, this runs up. You get a close outside and a new high all in one bar, and it turns down. That's a really bearish bar, so I like that one. You have to kind of wait this one out. It takes a minute. Of course, you get just enough to scalp out, but it takes a minute to work down there, and then it comes back again, but it gives you a double top, but it doesn't give you a good enough signal bar. So, and then of course you get a failed breakout down here. You might take that trade. I didn't mark it. Again, you're trying to pick bottoms. But that's a big reversal bar. That's what rejection looks like. And it was an easy scalp, but it still didn't go very far. And then we're just kind of chopping along here, and we finally break out. There's just nothing to really trade there. And then once it breaks out of here, this time it fails and reverses. If you got a high or low, maybe you go long here, but you just don't get one. It just takes off. You do get a second long entry long here, but it's too congested. And this is a spiking channel. It spikes up real hard and then kind of folds over into a channel. But you never really get a good chance to trade this. You do come back to the trend line here and confirm it, but it's just a first entry. You do get a second entry long here, but you don't have room to scalp out. It's congested, and you see it doesn't go very far, and then you get your break. But notice you get a first entry, and you get a close outside that khaki channel, and you make a second leg down. So when it breaks above there, it's second entry long. I like that one. You get two legs to a new high, and then you get a lower high right here. This actually breaks higher, turns down. I think you need to wait for that to close. And you might even take that trade because this is played out. So it's aggressive again, though. And it is two legs up, and it's not a second entry. It's a first, second, third entry. So you're really playing it as a break out of this little congestion area right there. And the fact that it's made a new break and two legs up to a new high. But that lower high is the one that you really want to try to trade. And then it bounces down here again. There's a correction here and then a first entry, but there's no setup there. And so now you got this channel up with a break, couple of legs up, and then another lower high. I like going short there. And then, of course, it bounces right here. You end up with a trend line. And this is just a higher low with rejection there. I like going long right there. And you actually get a higher low off of that bounce. It breaks lower and fails and turns up. You could actually trade that. You could only really trade that on the engulfing bar, because if you wait till here, you don't have room to get out. It still would have worked and gone higher, but I think you have to trade that on the engulfing bar. It's a big bearish bar, so it's probably going to trap shorts. And that's why it made such a big bar, because all these people that got short here had to reverse. And it just kind of chopped higher there. There's another second entry here, first entry, second entry, but there's too much resistance across there. There's no line there. I didn't draw it, but you should draw these lines till you learn to see them. So you can see why you really wouldn't want to go long right there. And that takes us into 230. So another crazy day. Again, big sell off with two legs down, and then it reverses and gives you two strong legs back up. Now, I don't think they'll let this thing sell off. We got an election coming up, and I mean, the whole election gets crazier every day now with Trump maybe going to jail. Who knows what's going to happen? So I think this market's nervous. Another 4 years of Biden, and this market will be dead probably. If he gets reelected, I expect this thing will probably die, because he's not doing anything to help the markets really. But we'll have to see. You never know about the markets. They'll fool you. But with the way the economy is, and now he's talking about coming out talking about raising taxes to the capital gains rate to 45%. That means he's taking almost half your money on capital gains. That's ridiculous. I mean, we're getting as bad as Europe now and some of these other places that overtax people. Hopefully it won't come to fruition, but if he stays in office, my guess is it probably will. But anyway, that's the way I saw it today. It is what it is, but I don't see anything else here that's really worth mentioning. We had a couple of ways to get your measured leg down. First, you want to look for your measured move on the range, which was here, and it just went right on through there. Like, it didn't even, it came back and tested it on the way up, but it didn't test it at all on the way down. It just went right through it. Notice how it did come back and test it from underneath. And then it rocketed back up, two legs back up just as fast. So, crazy day. Here, let's just take a look at Friday. You talk about a crazy day. This was a really strong sell-off, but look at that rally. And look when most of the really big gains come. Late in the day when the volume's really thin, somebody came in and bought it up when it was really thin, only to see it sell off again and the same thing happen. And look when the real buying comes in late in the afternoon when the volume's thin. I don't trust this market one bit. It looks, whether it is or not, it looks highly manipulated. And my guess is it probably is. Doesn't matter. All we can do is trade what's here. So follow the price action. It's usually going to show you exactly what it's going to do. You just have to learn to see this stuff. So keep working on it. Be careful in these news items, these red news items. Be flat 15 minutes before they come out.